Welcome to another episode of Exposed. Exposed is a youth talk show on Mohawk TV. The purpose of the show is to expose the issues that matter to Kahnawaka's youth and to provoke thought and discussion on those issues. I'm one of your panelists, Jessica Deere.
I'm Curran Jacobs.
And I'm JD Saylor.
So yay, JD is going to be kind of, I guess, a regular panelist for the time being.
Get used to him. He's going to be here.
So welcome again.
Thank you.
So if you noticed, our set is kind of a bit modified. So I'd just like to take a moment to thank K-Town Custom Printing. They're like an upcoming printing shop, and they helped out with our new logo sign thing. That's awesome. And on that note, and this week we have, I guess, a lot of random issues to discuss. The first one is kind of, I guess, current events and what, as almost everyone knows, I'm like addicted to Facebook. And the recent, I realized I keep getting news through my news feed. And one of the things that I found out was that Osama bin Laden is dead.
That's funny because that's probably the last thing that I found out on my Facebook feed. Because I remember I was sitting at the table for, I don't know, lunch or dinner or whatever meal it was, and my dad told me that. And I was kind of like, oh, he's dead?
I kind of forgot about him.
Yeah. I forget where I heard it, and then I ended up seeing it on, the MSN news feed and whatever, and I suppose it's real. They said they tested some DNA with his sister, but, I don't really care at this point anymore. It's been 10 years since the September 11th attacks. I mean, it took them kind of a while.
Yeah, well, I found out through Facebook. At first it was one person, and then it's only one person's status of you're not sure, and then there's another one, and then all of a sudden there's another one. They're turn on CNN. So of course I turn on going through all the news channels, and it's oh my god, it's okay, this is apparently true, and then President Barack Obama is gonna make a speech about it. So actually it was I don't know, around 11:30 at night, and I'm watching the news just kind of what's happening. And but I think it doesn't, I don't know, there's all different views about his death. There's the people who are starting to conspiracy theorists, well, was he been dead for a while, is he really dead? They don't believe it. Then it's well, why was he buried at sea? And people want proof. Mm-hmm. And there was reports, I think ABC reported that the government is thinking about releasing his death photo, which is, I don't know.
I think the level of importance it has to specific people, it depends on, I guess, essentially their involvement in the whole 9/11 scenario. I mean, we were really young when it happened. I was in the 6th grade, maybe. I
was in grade 7 science class when I heard the news. My science teacher just got a phone call, and he said a plane crashed into the Twin Towers, and we were all oh, okay, because we didn't really believe it at first. And then later on we heard it over the intercom, and then they were even showing the news feeds in the library at lunchtime about it.
Yeah, I was I think in grade 6 or something like that, and it was only when I got home for lunch that all my I went to lunch at my grandmother's, and they were watching the news, but I didn't. It's just kind of whatever, and it was only afterwards that I was whoa, this really happened.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess at that time, right? I'd never even got to see the Twin Towers. I didn't know. I knew they were in New York, but they didn't mean anything to me. Mm-hmm. So I think because we lived up here in Canada, it didn't have that much of an effect on me, because I didn't feel threatened, but I was also 11.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much of a threat I can feel from terrorism as I can about
But I think
something attacking me in
that
my sleep.
whole threat of terrorism now, because of 9/11, we see it, and maybe we not we're living it, but we may not be able to recognize it.
So you can feel the effects traveling, using airports and flying, that you can, I think that the effects are really, we're really feeling it from that.
And that even affects like people like specifically in Kahnawake and like I guess being native and how some people won't necessarily want to buy, like not buy, but get apply for a passport. So and because like 9/11, whether they're gonna do this or not, like because of it or not, like having tougher security and stricter, I guess, restrictions and stuff like that. I mean, it affects us.
Well, and things right afterwards, things are really bad. Like you know, I remember going to fly and I couldn't bring like a water bottle. I'd filled up my water bottle. They made you empty it. Every little vial of like shampoo,
There's
anything
like
liquid.
weird things too, like what is it? Milk for babies or formula.
And then it went as extreme as like anything you bought within the airport. Even like I bought an iced coffee from Second Cup and they were like, no, you can't bring that in the plane. And I'm like, I bought it from you guys here. How come I'm not allowed to bring it on? Like, it was extreme. But they've started really, like, it's not as bad anymore. You're allowed certain amounts of liquids and stuff like that. I understand the reasoning behind the strictness.
In some cases, I don't think it was an exaggeration based on the extremity of the circumstances of the bombings, of the terrorist attacks.
But at like the same time, because of Osama bin Laden's death, I think there's people who are like, well, there's a lot of people who are glad he's dead. I mean, he like committed so much evil, but there's like that relief that okay, that he's not able to like, you know, create all this stuff. But at the same time, I don't think. I mean, there's still other members of Al Qaeda,
what's
and like
to say if just because he's dead,
that
doesn't mean that it's gonna stop other people from
and
doing things.
that's what I guess the president of the United States was quoted as saying in all like the media reports that this doesn't really like change much in terms of like the war in Iraq, and
especially if he's been hiding out for 10 years and it took that long for him to be killed, to be found and killed, you know, like I mean, I guess if anything did happen that he did do, I'm not really aware of it, but to be hiding that long for that many years and then be like caught and killed, does that really change how things are going to be if other people decide that they want to?
Well, was it also better to kill him, or maybe just to keep him in hiding if any intelligence found out his whereabouts, just to keep him in hiding? Because what I would think would happen is the reactions to it by his followers would be payback, the same way as the U.S. did to the terrorist attacks in the first place.
There's people who are like fearful that because like was killed by like American special forces that he's gonna members of Al Qaeda are gonna
they're just gonna pack and retaliate.
Especially because also there was people when the news was released. There's people like congregating in like near the Twin Tower sites, near outside the White House, and they were like it was like there's just mass amounts of people and they're celebrating, and it's just kind of a weird celebration thing. But anyway, that was one thing that I found out from my news feed on Facebook this past weekend. And the other thing was on Monday, Canada had their federal elections, and so we don't have a new prime minister. It's Stephen Harper again, unfortunately. Yeah. I don't know. Did you vote?
No.
We mentioned this last episode too, like that we kind of, I guess, most natives are kind of, what's the word? Apathetic.
Well, it's perceived as apathetic. It's perceived as apathy because if you don't vote, you're expected to not care. But you know, that's a different story for some people.
And for me, it's like kind of, I don't know, in between, like to a degree. I don't care about it. I mean, it's just this. I don't know, like. I don't know, like it's not supposed to be our government, but at the same time it affects us, and like I understand that, and that maybe if I voted and maybe like I don't know how if my single vote would like change something.
Well, in this election, at the very least, this is the only one I've done any kind of research on, but there should have been a large turnout for from Native Americans in Kahnawake and throughout Canada, because the new Democratic Party actually had policies for helping Aboriginal peoples in many aspects, and that was the only of the four parties that had anything to say about Aboriginal status.
And that's something that like Jack Layton has always been like, I guess, not ranting, but like, promoting. And I remember he was at the education rally for First Nations education in Ottawa on Parliament Hill, and he was talking there. And then there's also a First Nation person who was running for the NDP up north, I think. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if he was elected or not. But anyway, that's all the time we have for right now, and we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more Exposed.